All right, hello guys, welcome back. Wanted to, again, didn't have enough time kind of during class to finish this lesson, so told you guys I would make a video, so I'm gonna make something real quick to kind of help you guys. We started in class talking about graphs of proportional relationships. All right, we went through all this. Again, this is page 31 in your textbook. We talked about proportional and non-proportional graphs. Again, this is relating only to the graphs, which you can kind of see. There's an example, a couple of those. So for it to be proportional, by looking at the graph, it needs to be a straight line and it must go through the origin. Okay, again, the origin is the point 0, 0 here. The graphs that we're dealing with are basically kind of like the first quadrant. We're doing little, like line graphs and things, kind of what we're looking at when we're dealing with the graphs. So there's kind of three examples of a graph of what it would look like. It starts at the origin, which is 0, 0, and it goes out of the origin in different kind of directions, but it makes a straight line. Okay, there's gonna be some points we'll be putting on the graphs, and when you connect your points, you should have a straight line. If you do not have a straight line, if it's a non-straight line, okay, or if it is a straight line that does not go through the origin, it is said to be non-proportional. Non-proportional, here's an example. This is a straight line, but it does not start at 0, 0. It does not go through the origin 0, 0. These do go through the origin, except they're not straight. So for example, we had a point up here, and then the next point was somewhere down here. So when you connect them, and I'll show you over on the projected part of the board in a minute, but you would go up to the point, go down, so it's not a straight line anymore, or this one, you kind of go across and then you go up. So when there's a change of direction, it no longer is a straight line. Therefore, both of these scenarios are non-proportional. You have, I believe, only 6 questions on this lesson. You're given a table. You need to put that table onto a graph, and then by looking at the graph, you'll be able to determine if it's going to be proportional or not. You do need to graph these. Some problems you can see the table and usually kind of tell from the table if it's going to be proportional or not. However, I need you to graph these, okay? I'm going to move the camera over to the board here, and I'm going to kind of go at an angle because I know the lights in the classroom and the lights on the projector, kind of like the bright light that's right here, I'm going to keep the light here so we can still see all of our work. All right, so for example, this I believe is this is like I think it's number 1 on the homework, except I took all the numbers out. So again, you're going to be given these numbers. Now, I'm going to fill them in for you now. So let's go with, now for example, this one says the snow cones sold and per time, which is hours. This is what's going to change each problem. Some of them are going to be different things. I don't know, hot dogs sold or different things. It's not always going to be the snow cones. And then it's not always going to be time. Sometimes it could be distance and things like that. But for this case, let's go 100 snow cones sold in 1 hour. Let's go 200 snow cones sold in 2 hours, 300 in 3 hours. So again, every 100, so if you read side here, this is the snow cones per hundreds. So this actually is a 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Now some problems don't have hundreds on here. So if it doesn't say hundreds, then you just go by the normal value, and I'll kind of try to do one of those in a second. And then of course your times on the bottom, this is how many hours. So in 1 hour, they sold 100 cones. So you go over to 1 hour and you go up to 100 and you put a point. Okay, next one, 200 snow cones sold, and it's 200 snow cones sold after 2 hours, I apologize. And then 3 and 300, like that. We can kind of tell without connecting the dots, this is gonna be a straight line. But let's go ahead and do that. Now, just because it doesn't actually say 0, 0 up here, if it doesn't say anything with a 0 for like the hours, then we're going to assume it does go through the origin. So in this case, well, I know my line's not perfectly straight, but that's what we're doing. Now, let me get a little bolder here for the video. Now we can go ahead and tell, right, with our 3 points, we connected our 3 points. This is a straight line, check, right, yes. And it also went through the origin, therefore this is proportional. Now, the question on the homework, I believe I asked, is it proportional, non-proportional? So that's the work that needs to be done and shown, and then you can write proportional, you can write pro, you can abbreviate here if you'd like. I'm not too concerned about that. But I want us to be able to look at the graph and tell if it's proportional or non-proportional. This is the kind of work you'll have on your homework. This is the work that I'll be looking for on the practice test and the test in the week or weeks to come. All right, let me take my eraser. Let's take this down. Let's do another one. Again, at any time, if you need to pause it and write something down or anything like that, you can do that. Let's keep snow cones sold, that's fine. We're gonna keep the hours, but we're not gonna make it hundreds anymore. Let's just go, let's see. After 2 hours, not 2 hours, wrong one. After 2 hours, we sold 12 snow cones. After 3 hours, we only sold 15, and 4 hours, still 15, okay? So we kind of hit a plateau there. So after 2 hours, you go to 2, and you go up to 12. 12 sold. 3 hours, 15 sold. 4 hours, 15 sold, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're going to connect these. So we're gonna start at 0, right? Because it didn't tell us to start at any other number. If it doesn't say a 0 here, then we can start at 0. So we're gonna go 0. Oh man, this is not gonna be straight. 0, sorry about that. 0 to 12, and then we're gonna go 12 to 15, 15 to 15, and then we can put an arrow, whatever at the end. Now, again, when we talk about proportional and non-proportional, proportional needs to go from the origin, which this does, but then it needs to be a straight line. Now, it did go from these 2 points straight, but then it kind of changes direction for the next 2. Therefore, this is non-proportional. Again, by reading the graph, by looking at it, my line isn't very straight because I freehand it. So let's try to use some sort of a straight edge, a ruler, straight, and we're just connecting the dots like we did when we were younger, right? From one point to the next point, draw a straight line. To the next point, draw a straight line. If it is not continuing in a straight line, which this didn't, right? It took a curve to the right at the top. This is non-proportional. So again, answer, non-pro. If you'd like to abbreviate, non-proportional, kind of write your answer there. So this one's non-proportional. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do one that starts at 0. So 0, after 0 hours, let's say we had already sold, let's say if a situation where we already sold somehow. Okay, we sold 5 snow cones after 0 hours. After 10 hours, we sold only 7, and after 12 hours, we only sold 10 more. Okay, so then we're gonna, again, these are just points on the graph. 0, 5. So at 0 hours, we went up to 5. After 10 hours, we sold 7. Let's see if I can find where 7 is. After 12 hours, we sold 10. Okay, so by looking at this, let me see if I can get a ruler and make this a little bit straighter here. So by looking at this, we should kind of already be able to tell, well, there's no way our line's going to be straight, but we need to still go ahead and finish this. Okay, so we have this, and then we're going to go up. Okay, and then we're going to put some sort of a arrow on the end. Oops. All right, so that's what we have. Now, first off, the 2 things that proportional needs is, is it a straight line? It is not a straight line. It goes here and then it curves up. So we already know it's non-proportional. The second thing that proportional needs is that it needs to go from 0. It needs to come from the origin. This one doesn't. It starts way up here. So from the beginning, we could have already determined that this is non-proportional. So kind of 2 strikes, and we know from both of them, right? Because to be proportional, we need to check 2 things off the list. Both aren't true, so it's going to be non-proportional. All right? Let's see here. And that's what this is. There's 6 problems like that. That's what we're doing on this one. Let's do. Let's see here. Okay. 0, 1 sold. Let's do 100. It's fine. 100 sold after 5 hours. We have 500 sold. 10 hours. 1,000 sold. Okay, so again, we have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. So 1,000 would be the 10. So let's go ahead and put these on the graph. So 0 hours is 100. I remember we're going by hundreds here. So it's going to be on the 1. 5 hours is 500. Right here. And 10 hours is 10. It's going to be at the 10, which is 1,000. Okay? Actually, and if you look at it, let's go ahead and connect the dots. And here and here. There. Connect these dots. Oh man, this one? I'm doing the wrong one. 5, 10, 10. Okay. Oh, I should have. Sorry. I want this to be straight, so I messed up there. Should have been 4, 900. Sorry, guys. Sorry. 900. Okay. That should be straight. Looks better. Okay, and I'm gonna put an arrow on it. All right. So by looking at this, we can tell off the bat, right? This is a straight line. So that's check 1 for proportional. The second thing, and it was on the board I showed earlier, and you can go back in the video if you need to, is that it needs to go through the origin. Does this go through the origin? This right here, I'll put a green dot. This is 0, 0. It does not go from the origin, therefore this is non-proportional. Okay, so this again, non-proportional. So it's important that we know the benchmarks, what needs to be done or what needs to be checked off for it to be proportional and what needs to be checked off for it to be non-proportional. Now, let's see. I think there was one more I wanted to do. I think that was pretty much it. So again, make sure that if it doesn't, and like I said before, I'll do one of those. If it doesn't have a 0 here, then you assume that it starts at 0, 0. So let's do one of those. Let's go, if it starts at a 3, 6, and then 9, so 3 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours, let's go with, we'll stick with the 400s. 400, 800, 1,200, okay? So let's go to 3 hours. Let's go up to 4, right here. 6 hours, we'll go up to 8. 9 hours to 12. Let's see if this works the way I want it to. I don't know if it will. Let's see. Only one way to find out. Oh, it's not going to. All right, sorry. I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. I'm gonna fix that real quick. Let's do, I'm sorry. Anybody wrote this down? Let's just fix this real quick. Let's do a 2 and a 5 and an 8. 2, 5, 8. So 2, we go up to 4. 5, we go up to 8. That's probably what's gonna do it. That's fine, we'll go with it. And 8 is 12. Okay, all right. Actually, yeah, this is better. So we have there. Now we have there. And we have there. All right, so one of the reasons why it's important to make sure that we graph from the origin. If it doesn't have a 0, we need to go ahead and go from the origin. All right, because starting at this point right here, starting at 2 hours, it is a straight line. However, from 0 to the 2, right, before we get to the 400, this is what makes it not straight. So look at each segment, right? We're kind of going up pretty steep, and then it kind of levels out. This is non-proportional because it is actually not a straight line. The straight line are these two segments together, right? They go in this direction here, but the beginning part, this right here, compared to this line right here, is two different things. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind. If we have a situation on the homework where it looks like it's a straight line, but it's kind of going a little steep and then it kind of changes its direction and go that way, it's still not a straight line. So this right here is non-proportional. Okay, keep an eye on your homework. You do have the answers to all 6 of the questions. On the last page, it says proportional or non-proportional for your answers. Make sure we are taking the information from the chart, from the table. I give you the information in the table. make sure you put it into the graph and then determine if it's proportional or not. Okay? If you guys have any questions, you guys can reach out to me. You guys know how to get a hold of me. And hope you guys have a good weekend as we get ready to transition into the next quarter. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon.